Calling out all my nerds, freaks, and geeks. It's mob time.
Don't tune in cause it's showtime. Go ahead and call the gang up for the one time. Rap, Phoop, Ryun, got them on the line. And my life's still great, I'm doing just fine. Hands up.
What's up, y'all, and welcome to the Blerd Mob, your hub for all things black and nerdy. I am your host, Phoop, joined by my co-host, Ryun. We're here today to bring you guys episode 51 of the Blerd Mob podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing all of the recent news that came out for the MCU. We're going to be talking about some of the new updates we got regarding the Switch 2. And we're going to be touching on what's currently the top 10 selling consoles and doing a little bit of reflection on those and what's the future going to be looking like for the gaming industry. So before we get into our lovely topics today, how you doing, Ryan?
I might accidentally bring back a former segment from the earlier days of the Blerd Mob, and that is that we spend too much money segment. So I made a recent impulsive pre-order. I haven't even gotten it yet, but you know I got that Elder Scrolls Skyrim vinyl. I love Elder Scrolls, right?
Oh yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
I love Halo too. And tell me why they dropped a vinyl record collection.
Hold on, stop. I already know where this is finna go. You pre-ordered, you got you a vinyl player, didn't you?
I ain't even got that yet. You skipping ahead. Instead, I pre-ordered the $200 plus collector's edition of all of the Halo soundtracks from 1 through 3 on vinyl.
With no vinyl player.
No vinyl player. And I still got the Bleach vinyl soundtrack and the Skyrim soundtrack sitting right in front of me. I
can't even be mad at you because my recent impulse buys I sent you a picture of it yesterday. I got the manga box set 1 of the Sailor Moon Naoko Takeuchi collection. Then maybe about a month ago they came out with the disc versions of Arcane, and I ended up getting both copies because why not?
And I hate to say this, y'all. I'm a bad influence to my friend, but she's a bad influence to me too, because I can't remember, was it one or both of those things? Why I sent it to you on Instagram like, hey, I know you're going to like this. I know you're going to like this.
It was, you sent me, I woke up one morning and Ryan had sent me the pre-order for the Sailor Moon manga box set 1 collection. And I was like, thank you. You sent me something of substance. You sent me something of substance. I also pre-ordered the Funko Pops for Arcane. Yeah, so all of my pre-orders have just been like coming in. And I bought some more clothes because duh, why would I not do that? And I got some shoes lined up to give myself for the holiday season. So like
I just, I thought it'd be nice to go back to our roots, because this was a former segment where, and y'all, we not flexing.
It was tax season. We started it because it was tax season, and it was like, what's the thing that no matter how much money you have in your account, you're buying, hands down, no question.
Credit card. like, bro. I'm so glad income tax season is right around the corner, so I can pay off my credit card. It's about that time.
Yo,
That's the whole point.
I've been doing a thing where I go on vacation, I use my credit card, because like vacation is always so, I won't say random, unpredictable.
Yeah.
Is a good word for it. Like, you never know, like, when you go to a different state, what's, like, the activities are going to pop up. And I always feel like using the credit card is the safe bet. Like, sometimes you use cash. You'd be like, okay, let's use some cash right here. Sometimes, like, when we was hitting all those lounges and stuff in Houston, I said, let me slap this credit card over here, because if, the money get crazy, I forget to do something a little bit.
Yeah.
It's the credit card. It's the safe bet.
Yeah. And financially responsibility. You get points, cash back, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
stuff.
And y'all, before y'all be like, are y'all flexing because y'all rich? No, I'm broke. She's rich. 2, our bills are paid. Two, our bills are paid. So we are semi-financially responsible.
I want to say it's flexing, because like we buy a lot of stuff, but like Ryan said, the bills be paid. I feel like we are very good examples of, you can buy whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Indulge in whatever the fuck you want. and still, handle your financial responsibilities, because you'll never, ever hear me get on this podcast and say, I just bought a Sailor Moon manga box set and I can't pay my rent. Like, you'll never hear that come out of my mouth. You'll
Hey,
never hear that come out of my mouth.
I'll hit you with the, hey, can we pause the live stream real quick? Like, you really can't pay your bills right now? Like,
like where
what you
jazz
going
music
through?
stops. Like, I think I would just say it goes back to like how my parents like raised me and stuff. Is like, you handle your responsibilities first. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's the saying? You work hard, play hard. Handle your
Exactly.
responsibilities first. Then go, buy Pokeballs and, all the stuff that Ryan got back there and I got back here. Like, them bills getting paid first.
The
And
bills get paid.
like, and whatever's left over is going towards, this stuff back here.
And that's the thing. Your 20s and your 30s are all about working hard to buy the stuff your inner child always wanted. That's how I live my life.
That's how I've been living my life. Like, as soon as I got this job and started making money,
Money.
when I started making money and I could buy like whatever I wanted, don't got to worry about, I'm going to wait and ask my parents this for Christmas. Oh, this is going to be a birthday gift. Oh, let me make some shit right here. No.
And shout out to Blessings, because I ain't gonna cap. It did feel good when we went on a trip. And I could be like, I can pay for the table. Let me slide that out there.
Hey, that's grown. That's grown adult
That's kind of
shit.
fire. That's kind of fire.
That's grown adult shit. When you can slide your card across the table and be like, y'all don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Like, this on me tonight. But I
That's kind
also
of
feel
fire.
that's grown people shit to me. And I also feel like that's just a level of respect. Like, when you have a good friend group. Because
Mm-hmm.
you can't just go out with you can do it as a goodwill. Like, if you go out with some people and be like, hey, y'all cool people, let me handle the bill. But I feel like we just know each other so well that we just, I don't mind pulling my card out and being like, hey, Ryan, hey, Antoine, hey, y'all, I got this
Mm-hmm.
tonight. Because one, we've been doing this stuff since like college. Two, I know, like, I feel like we just have a conscious understanding that y'all gonna get me back on the back end.
Exactly.
Some gonna get handled. It might not be tonight. It'll probably be the next day. It might be the day after that. But some gonna get handled.
Exactly. Also, before we get into the topics, can we shout Ralph out? He made it public on his social media, so we can shout him out, right?
Yeah, we can shout Ralph out.
Yeah.
I wish he was here though. Ralph got caught up babysitting. But make sure you guys follow Ralph on social media. Shout out to Ralph. He popped the big question to his then girlfriend,
Now
now
fiance.
fiance. So shout out to Ralph. And I think this is just a testimony to, we are getting old, my guy.
Yeah.
We are getting older. Like, what's
Yeah.
that tweet that was like, all my friends, like, you're seeing people grow up and people are having like babies and getting married, and you looking like, dang, we so young. But then you, bigger picture,
You sit
no, we
back and
not.
like,
Like, you're
this is when families
36.
start.
You're
Yeah.
36.
Like, bro, we done went to one wedding. We got Ralph's coming up. We got one of our homeboys. We never said his name on the pod, but he didn't give us an update. But he been engaged for a few months, so we'll know
Like,
when his wedding coming
people
up.
getting engaged, having children, making families, and we are
Just
growing up.
just a few years ago, we was
Just
happy to be getting them 4 for 4s and going to Ichiban down Flowwood.
a college was a good time. I don't want to stay too much on this because we definitely have a lot to talk about. We've been gone for a minute, but I will say that the groundwork that we've laid, like, during those Jackson State years, as far as like friendships, connections, and things like that, is definitely paying off. And it's been lovely to see everybody grow into their adulthood the way that they are.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Growth.
Shout out to Grove. But let's get into these topics of today. Like I just said, we've been gone for a while. There's been hella television, hella anime, and we still got things coming up in the works. So as always, we're going to tell you guys what we've been watching, what we recommend, and how we've been feeling about a couple things that's been airing up to this point. So what you got for me, Ryan?
When it comes to what's been airing, I'm gonna be honest. I've been falling off on some stuff. I've been
Falling off
falling off
bad.
real bad,
Falling
real
off
bad.
bad. Oh
Y-
my god. I just got caught
y-
up on Down the Line.
Look, hey, ooh, let's start there. Let's start there.
Okay.
I didn't watch this episode till like a few hours after the internet got to it. And I kept seeing the clips of that scene in that intro scene when they was running through the city, the scene
Uh-huh.
when the girl woke up and it was the spirit actually going into her history. And I was like, what is everybody talking about? Because this do look good. These are some good angles, good perspectives.
Yeah.
Watch the Dun Dun episode. I'm like, oh, this is Dun Dun.
So
This
like
is Dun Dun. This is fire.
this was what I was waiting for. If you haven't watched it already, I know we're in the fall 2024 season, but if you need some additional recommendations, we have our fall 2024 watch list recommendations video. But in the video, I said that these first couple episodes of Dandanon to me was laying out the groundwork of like the lore and how the powers work and the characters and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. And I was waiting for the shit to hit the fan. And I feel like once we got past the Turbo Granny thing, like that episode and the episode before that, this is the shit hitting the fan. And I was like, okay, Don da Don. Don da Don.
Dun
Like
Dun Dun.
that last episode was like that the animation, the storytelling, the angles definitely is it kept that humorous tone that we've already experienced in the first couple Down the Line episodes, but then they meshed it well with like the seriousness of like what was going on in this episode. And I was like, this is
And
I
honestly, it's taken some of the best parts of Shonen Foop. Like you got the little cute little mascot, the equivalent to Happy and Cone from other animes
the
with
cat.
Turbo Granny and the cat. You got the guy and girl with the romantic interest, but they do it right. Turbo Granny is the
Mm-hmm.
cat, kind of fire. The guy and the girl, they actually do a good job at actually going into their romance, unlike most battle shonens.
Mm-hmm.
Even the power system, they ain't explained it fully, but they've done enough to catch my interest with that aura stuff and how baby girl can feel
Yeah.
another human body. Like,
I
how's that going to turn into more power ups and stuff in the future?
I think they're about to get into it now that the new girl, Ira, now has her spiritual abilities. I think
Mm-hmm.
we're about to get into the different layers. Cause then you have Okaroon, who's like I won't say he's fully possessed, but he has the essence of Turbo Granny inside of him. You have
Exactly.
Momo, who has the spiritual powers, and now we have Ira, who's gonna have in this next episode, we're gonna find out what her deal is. And based on the intro, it seems like there's gonna be more of them. So I think we're about to get into like the explanation of the power system and how all this spiritual abilities and stuff like that is supposed to work.
Exactly. And I feel, and we also forget it's on some JJK Bleach stuff. When they be doing these transformations, other people can't see them. So, like when
Yeah.
Buddy, I think it was the episode before this, when he got mad at that dude who was
And he
talking
was
about his
lifting that. He
homegirl.
got super strong on it. He turned up on
Yeah,
that dude. And I'm glad you brought that up because I definitely thought about that. And I was like, he can't see this man transforming at all. He just think this man then tweaked out in the middle of the
exactly.
he just think this man is tweaking
Personality
out.
switch.
Right.
It's crazy though. Like for anybody who ain't watching it, who if you're one of those, oh, I don't watch for the hype type of people, I get it. I can be that same way too. Dun 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 is fire. Like if you like
Yeah.
those JJK styled animes, you like the ones that take influence more so from Bleach than the other big three. Like it's real fire, and it got dark with this
Yeah.
old lady Yokan. They went through her history with her daughter and everything.
Yeah.
Like it got a little gruesome. It was a little violent. I was like, oh, I'm
That's
not
why,
mad at this.
and that's what I was saying. Like that episode was a perfect blend of like the humorous tone that we had been getting in those first couple episodes, and then when
Yeah,
the seriousness came through, it didn't feel out of place. Like I feel like the transition was smooth, and I liked and they ended it on that serious note as well. They didn't end it with something stupid.
exactly,
No
exactly.
tea, no shade. My Hero Academia.
Mm, good season, but y'all go watch our reviews and stuff.
No
Y'all see.
Peachy King. No Peachy King.
No Peachy King. No more. None of that. But nah, Donna Dunn been hitting, bruh. I know you want to talk about it. I only got the first two episodes in the Arcane, and don't get me wrong, I am really enjoying it. I was like,
Arcane is going. crazy. That first act, y'all already know I'm on it. So for those
Mm-hmm.
who are caught up, listen to me. Act 1, 10 out of 10. It was the way it started, it throws you right into the aftermath of what happens after Jinx shot that rocket launcher at the end of season 1. I love that they hopped straight into that because that's a crazy cliffhanger to leave people
Exactly.
on for 3 years. A crazy cliffhanger. So I
Yeah.
love that they hopped straight into that. Act 1 is a 10 out of 10 because of everything that they are setting up. Now I watched Act 2 this morning. Um I'm gonna rewatch it because I rewatched Act 1. I'm gonna rewatch Act 2, but I have some concerns about the pacing. Now, if Act 3 comes around and they stick the landing on it, I won't be mad.
And
But
when is Act 3 coming out?
Act 3 comes out. So by the time you guys are listening to this episode, will be 2 days out from Act 3. Act 3 drops November 23rd.
Okay.
So I have a bit of some concerns about the pacing on Act 2, but like overall animation, character development, the new characters that they've been introducing haven't been mad at them at all. I just want to see how they wrap this up with Act 3. I think Act 2 is I'm a little like okay with it just because it is the middle. And I think I felt the same way about Arcane season 1 where the middle was like I like this. It's not a lot going on, but I still fuck with it. And then Act 3 was like, okay, boom, y'all got it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is the same kind of deal. But if you are caught up with Arcane all the way up to Act 2, let us know. Let me know in the comments because Ryan ain't watched it yet. Let me know in the comments how you've been feeling so far about these first 6 episodes. But this was worth the wait. Regardless, this was worth the wait. Did you see the thing that they said Arcane season 1 and season 2 costs $250 million?
That actually does sound about right, depending on how
That
they put it
sound
together.
like yes. I That's a lot of money. However, if you look at everything that they've done to put into Arcane, like I just saw a video the other day of how they do like the animations, like the animators were actually like acting out like the mannerisms and everything for the characters in like real life before they animated it. And I was like, this makes sense. Like all of those microaggressions and small facial expressions you get like from Jinx, Caitlyn, and Vi, like small stuff that you wouldn't really see in animation. I was like, yeah.
Cause it's a lovely 3D art style, but it's not necessarily CGI'd out to where they just threw some stuff up in there. And it's like it's a different style of work in comparison to like 2D anime. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're seeing all these evolutions in anime, but that most people just ain't aware of their budgets. These animes are a lot more expensive when you look at like publishers and everybody going into
Mm-hmm.
play and get it overseas. It makes sense for Arcane to cost that much.
It
And especially if they just got one studio, I don't know how many people are up in there.
Me
I
neither.
don't know if they're outsourcing versus they want to keep it all in house and then they got to train people. Because the art looks amazing. It's fluid,
Always.
it's consistent, the colors, even the music. I just want to know how much they paid Imagine Dragons. Because I like hearing that in the episode. It was very fitting, in my opinion.
Man, the sound I've been keeping up with the soundtrack cuz y'all know I'm a soundtrack girly. Um they've been releasing pieces of the album per act. And I was just like it's it goes back to the storytelling and the way they've been putting this music together
Hmm.
and the artists that they bring out. Like some of these artists are like people I've never heard before. But I was like the music that they make fits the vibe of Arcane. Like going
Exactly.
past Imagine Dragons cuz Imagine Dragons is only on the intro.
Exactly.
But it was definitely like when I heard that intro, I was like, I'm never skipping this. I'm never skipping this.
I I likes it, bro. Like I'm gonna be honest, I'm catching up. I gotta catch up. I still gotta catch up on Vox Machina
Me
because I
too.
enjoyed the first couple of episodes of that too, and I'm just been falling off of everything.
I've
But
fallen off with a lot of stuff, and it was really the vacations. It was Houston, then it was going to St.
yeah,
Louis, and everything just got behind. I'm behind on Fairy Tale. I'm behind on Tower of God. I'm behind on Vox Machina. Um, So like there
But
was a couple shows that I kept up with, like check out on social media or on the YouTube community page. I put out my review for Agatha All Along. That was damn good. For that
mm-hmm.
to be a spin-off series from WandaVision, that was damn good. I'm looking forward to what they do with that character because they just introduced Wiccan,
Okay.
which I don't know how many heroes that makes for the Young Avengers, but he's on the roster for the Young Avengers, and they've already introduced uh Kate Bishop's Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, Ironheart, Wiccan's now been added to the list. Ant-Man's daughter is supposed to be on the Young Avengers, but I don't know her hero name. You got
Hmm.
Patriot. So like they're lining things up. But we can get more into that once we get to our MCU conversation. But
Man, it's when you catch up on Tower God, I think you'll enjoy it. The story's starting to pick up in this workshop battle finally,
mhm,
and we're finally starting to see callbacks to the original cast without any spoilers in a really nice way. So I think you're going to enjoy what they're showing now.
okay.
Fairy Tail's still consistently good. I've been enjoying it.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I got
Bleach has
I,
been hidden.
okay. I was ready waiting for you to get into Bleach, um Sword Art Online, and what was it, Blue Exorcist that you said you were watching as well?
I'm behind on Sword Art. I'm behind, bruh.
I'm
It fell through the cracks.
behind on Shangri-La. Are you caught up on Shangri-La?
I ain't watched the episode of Shangri-La yet.
Oh man.
I'm finna have to start binge watching stuff, bro. Like I've
It,
only been keeping up with Dawn to Dawn, Blue Exorcist, and Bleach consistently so far, and One Piece.
I just finished Uzumaki. My review for that is also on social media. I gonna be honest, the best thing about that shit was the trailer. I didn't I saw it, didn't read much into it, but there seemed to have been some issues with like the production and the animation and stuff, and there was definitely some times in the anime where the animation was lacking.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like it wasn't as creepy as I thought it was going to be. It was definitely creepy at times. It definitely had moments of when I was like, okay, what the fuck is going on? But I just feel like as for a 4 episode event, maybe it's me. Maybe I just didn't understand what was going on. Because every episode I'm like, okay, what's going on?
It that's a little disheartening because the manga community really highlights Uzumaki and ooh shoot, why am I going blank on the guy's name who wrote Uzumaki
Junji
and the
Ito.
Junji Ito. And it's surprising because after the anime came out, I haven't seen it on my timeline, and my timeline is mostly
Like
anime and
every
a few other things.
the only time I saw people talking about Uzumaki was because of the lacking in the animation. Like every time an episode
Mm,
came out and I went on my Twitter feed, it was somebody complaining about the animation. There was nobody like talking about the plot. It was nobody talking about the characters. There was nobody talking about, okay, guys, it's not that bad. It was really, people were like really honing in on the fact that the animation was lacking. And there were times, and I was like I just said, there were times when the animation was lacking, but like as a overall experience, I could have went without watching them 4 episodes. I'm just being real. I don't know what's going on with Adult Swim in these anime. I I fell off of Ninja Kamui when they started introducing them. Then when it went from ninjas to robots, like I dropped that.
Ninja Kamui had so much potential, bro.
I don't know.
So much potential.
I have no idea what's going on with Adult Swim in these anime. Now, what I want to get into, and I watched the first episode of this on YouTube, is the Invincible Fight Girl.
Hmm. What's that?
So it's basically, first of all, shout out to the fact that the main character is a black girl. Um the animation is pretty slick. It kind of reminds me of like Mucha Lucha type anime, but not animation, like Mucha Lucha type animation. And it's funny because
Mm-hmm.
she wants to be, her aspiration is to be a wrestler. So she grows up in this town where everybody's like supposed to be like an accountant, and they're accountants for like these wrestlers. And then the first episode is her fighting a group of wrestlers that's picking on the accountants or whatever.
Okay.
But the animation, I loved it. I loved the playfulness in it. I haven't watched the next couple episodes. I only watched episode 1 because it was free on YouTube. But I definitely would like to keep watching it to see what it's about.
And it's called Invincible Girl or Invisible
Invincible
Girl?
Fight Girl.
Invincible Fight Girl.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 I ain't heard of that, but I'm gonna look into it now. Okay. I'm not mad at that. Shoot. What else has come out? Oh, I do want to get into Bleach. Foop, I hope that you and Antoine can catch up with regular Bleach because Thousand Year Blood War right now, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. They're giving highlights. They're adding details to the show that the mangaka Tite Kubo didn't have time to add because Shonen Jump has a real bad habit of rushing their mangakas. But the stuff that he's added to enhance this story is absolutely beautiful. Um, it won't be spoilers for you, but for anybody who ain't caught up on the recent episode, go up back and watch it. But like even just Renji against Uryu, like really highlighting Renji's new Bankai and how he upgraded it post working with Squad Zero. Absolutely beautiful because Renji looks trash all throughout the manga. They look great. They look great. And I've just been thoroughly enjoying it. Like the soundtrack is nice. I still listen to Bleach's soundtrack in passing. Like it's just all very beautiful what they doing with Bleach.
Mm-hmm.
Real beautiful. But I think that's it. I need to catch up, bro. Shangri-La, Sword Art,
Yeah.
Rurouni Kenshin. Blue Exorcist
I
is good though.
I need to go back and finish the Tomb Raider anime. We said this before the fall season even started. The fall season was stacked.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we're in it, I think I've severely underestimated everything that was coming out this fall because there's
Yeah,
so much stuff going on at the same time that priorities are crazy. I just named 3 shows that I'm behind on, but wasn't going to be behind on Arcane. That was a fact.
exactly.
But it's so much out right now.
And there's video games out, dog. Like grad school been kicking my butt. This class, listen, I don't want my job to hear this, but listen, I might not make an A or B in this class. I start looking conduct clauses. I was like, hey, can a graduate student make a C? Because I made mostly A's and like one B. But nah, they said I'm gonna have to pay for that hoe. But
Yeah, I told you that.
I'm gonna end up having to pay it.
I told you
Bro, I
that.
got 2 more classes left. Like, listen, bro, for my enemies
Man,
planning my downfall, I need y'all to take a nap.
I just signed up for my capstone. So shout out, I'm finna be out this hoe. Spring
Mm-hmm.
2025. We about to be out of here. But I just registered for my capstone class. I'm reading the details or whatever. They're saying that I might have to have class on Saturdays. Whoa. Pump your brakes.
Ugh.
What? Now I get
Ugh.
it. Now I get it. This is the big project. This is equivalent to like our senior project at JSU. So I
Mm-hmm.
get that. Saturdays, y'all want me to work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Go to a traditional class on Wednesday from 6 to 8:40. And see y'all again on Saturday, my day of
And,
peace
and
and
still have a
stability,
life. Still pay your bills.
and still pay my bills. Look, listen,
Some got to give.
it's gonna get done. We're gonna get out of here. But when I read that, I was like, y'all can't be serious right now. Saturday? Y'all want to see me on a Saturday?
Look, bro, and it's the winter. Like, and we're talking about going into the spring. We got plans next year now, dog, that are getting finalized. Like, oh my god.
Yo,
Oh my
so
god.
listen, um, send y'all thoughts and prayers my way. Send them wrong way first. His
Please
shit going
send them,
on right now.
please.
His shit going on right now.
Bruh, I'm at the halfway
Prayers,
mark and
prayers,
it's beating me,
sorrows.
bruh.
Send your thoughts and prayers to Ron first, and then when we hit January 2025, I need y'all to collect that energy and give it to me.
Look, and my final class gonna start till about March, and then we got summer graduation.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, bruh, I'm trying to get this MBA. Foop trying to get her MSIS. That's the acronym for it.
It's MIS.
MIS. For our enemies, cut it out. Stop praying on our downfall. Go take a nap. For the folks who love us, please pray for us.
Nah, for
Good
real.
energy.
But was that all you had that you was watching?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
All right. So let's get into. So we got a couple of entertainment highlights that we're gonna get through first, and then we're gonna go straight into the Marvel stuff. So just the highlights that we got. News came out that there is a Game of Thrones movie in early development at HBO. Not a lot of details. They said George R. Martin is involved. They said they're gonna write up some scripts, pass it around, throw out some ideas, see if something sticks. Then Denzel Washington revealed he's currently on doing his press tour for the Gladiator 2 movie. He said that Ryan Coogler is writing him a role in Black Panther 3. And it's official. I think it's official, or it's rumored. We might as well say it's official because they ain't said shit. Fantastic Beast franchise is not coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to start with the Fantastic Beast thing because this is a conversation that we had when that last movie came out back in 2022. And we had a conversation about whether or not they should even do a fourth movie because the original plan for Fantastic Beasts was 5 movies.
Exactly.
And then that third one came out, and then everybody was just like, what the fuck? So
Yeah.
now they said, I think they said the third is either the second or the third Fantastic movie. I think it's the third one. The one that we did in 2022. They said it's the lowest grossing Harry Potter movie to date.
Yeah. More than the first one. And the first one, nobody even knew about it. Well, the books are popular, but you know.
My thing with Fantastic Beasts, and I said it back then, and I'll say it here today. If the focus was going to be Dumbledore and Grindelwald, they should have just said that. They should have just led with that. Because I don't think anybody would have been mad because that's an interesting area of the Harry Potter franchise to focus on because they made it so prominent when we got to Deathly Hallows. If
Yeah.
you watch the movie, you'll probably be like, well, they didn't really talk about it too much. But if you read the
Read the
book,
book.
if you read Deathly Hallows, the book, you know that they really hamped in on that relationship between Dumbledore and Grindelwald in regards to that. And if that's what the focus was supposed to be, you should have just said that. Don't show me Fantastic Beasts and all these animals, these cuddly little animals and shit, and then make the next 2 movies about Dumbledore and Grindelwald and put the animals on the back seat. Because what's
And
fantastic about this? What's Fantastic Beast about this?
and still making Luke Cybot. What's his name? Luke Lube
Newt?
Newt Cybot.
Newt Scamander. Boy, are you saying Noob Saibot? Newt
His last name
Scamander.
was Scamander.
Yes, man. He said Noob Saibot.
Wow.
Wow.
That's how bad they doing. Listen, because I'll never mess up Harry Potter.
He threw a Mortal Kombat character in Harry Potter, y'all.
Newt 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 Newt.
Scamander.
In my opinion, if they were going to make movies 2 and 3, that first one could have been a one shot because they basically made him in my eyes. They kind of made his character kind of worthless or more like a character's audience surrogate because
Right.
now we're focusing so much on Dumbledore and Grindelwald
He's
that it
just
took away
there.
the focus from him and his animals and hunt him down. And my whole thing is that would have been an interesting story. Go back and play Hogwarts Legacy with the little Hufflepuff girl who was a companion side character, and that was her whole background. If Newt was going to be that was his focus, we could have had 2 or 3 movies on that. Then you could have came back and made Histories of Dumbledore, The Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And that could have been its own independent trilogy.
I think they should have just went straight to Dumbledore and Grindelwald. That's just my personal opinion because I would like to. What was the demand for? Oh, we need to make a Fantastic Beast movie. Like, who really sat and watched all 7 Harry Potter movies and decided, you know what, we need animals. You know what would really take this to the next stage? The animals. Like there's
Well,
so many underlying layers throughout the Harry Potter series that could be expanded into a sub franchise that I'm just really curious on what made people be like, "Oh, Fantastic Beasts."
Well, here's the thing: there is an element to it that makes it magical. Because like when you go and watch the movies from their perspective, you got Luna Lovegood, who's more in touch with like some of the extracurricular activities of like the magical world. You got Neville, who's in the plants, but Luna was talking about the astrals and all that good stuff. There are elements to Harry Potter where if they wanted to emphasize it, I don't think we as fans would get mad because the movie one was good. I still like movie one. But my issue is, you're right. I don't see how y'all could have made a saga out of it, let alone a trilogy.
That's
And
what
if
I'm
y'all were
saying.
going to, y'all lost focus immediately after the first movie.
And that's all I'm saying. If we sat down, if the HBO executives sat down and was like, we want to make another 5 to 7 movie saga that exists in the Harry Potter universe, what conversation was had that was like, oh yeah, we need to focus on the animals? I'm
Exactly.
dead, and I'm dead serious.
Because arguably, what we've talked about, how the founding of Hogwarts, the Slytherin, the original Salazar Slytherin, and the family, and that family, and everything going on there. We could have did a Voldemort. We could have did another school of magic in another
And
country.
and
Follow
honestly,
an aura from the Ministry of
truly,
Magic.
if Dumbledore and Grindelwald was the focus, if this 5 movie trilogy was just them, we I'm counting on it. I'm banking on it that we would have got to Voldemort by the end of that saga. I'm banking
Yeah,
on it that we
yeah,
would have got to Voldemort in everything, that all the politics and all of that that led up to the first Wizarding War. I'm positive that if they just would have been upfront and said this next 5 movie saga is going to be based on Dumbledore and Grindelwald, the Deathly Hallows, and everything that leads up to the first Wizarding War, that would have that would have sold.
yeah.
That would have sold.
And that's the thing. I feel like they just didn't have. I don't feel like they had a clear vision. If
I
they
don't
had a
think.
clear vision and a roadmap, they could have made something magical out of this. No pun intended. Because now we got the series coming, and I've heard rumblings that they're going to connect that to Hogwarts Legacy 2 because it's been made official. Hogwarts Legacy 2 is truly in development.
Well, didn't they say Hogwarts Legacy is canon though?
Did they?
They didn't say that.
I wouldn't be. I'm not against it being canon because they show a lot of professors historically, like even the current professor, he was alluded to in the books at some point, and then they talk about other like not professors, headmasters
Yeah,
who are in the books. So I think it is.
I feel like it has to be canon.
Well, they're saying Hogwarts Legacy 2. There's rumors or rumblings that it might in some way tie to the series, or it might just be like some DLC, or like you might get like if they show the series and they got special robes or something, you might see it in the video game.
Hmm.
But now I'm like, I wish y'all never messed up Fantastic Beasts because that could have been something in and of itself.
I wish, like you said, I wish they had. We'll never know. Maybe they did, and it just when it got
Wasn't
to the
received
public,
well.
right? When it got to the public, it wasn't received well. But the only thing that I could think about is that maybe they just wanted to they used the animals to bring in the younger audience, because the thing with Harry Potter, the appeal there is that they're kids. The appeal to Harry Potter is that they were kids and they were in school. And we get to the end of Deathly Hollows. We get so far in the Deathly Hollows that the epilogue is they're like 30. So it's like, okay, can't keep making Harry Potter movies. We done made the folks 30. Ain't no kids gonna watch no 30, 40 year olds running around with magic wands. Like, you lost us. So, like, what's the next best thing? I get it, animals, but like we just said, y'all stuck with the animals for one movie. We stayed with the animals for one movie, and then the next 2 movies were straight like political warfare.
And that is the thing with entertainment now, because all the folks who grew up on Harry Potter, we're all grown. All those millennials, we're all adults at this point. We're fully grown. Folks got families now. Go to any Harry Potter event. I was at Harry Potter and Orchestra. Food. Everybody in there was like 30. Majority of folks in there were like 38 plus.
Hmm.
Now they had their kids there. Harry Potter is being passed down, but Harry Potter needs to. The folks
I
behind it
think the
need to know.
series, I think the
Yeah,
series is going. I know what you're leading up to, and I think that's what HBO is hoping. I think that's what they're hoping with this series. That once they get a new set of younger actors and actresses that a new generation can grow up with.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're hoping for. So when we get to the next many moons from now, there'll be another group of 27 to 30-year-olds being like, man, when I was Harry Potter, I grew up with these people. I went to the so-and-so and it's 30 motherfuckers in
It's,
here.
but then also they need to figure out if they really want to get that financial break. Are y'all going to target the adults, and if so, how? Like, could this spinoff, if y'all do another spinoff movie series,
I think
y'all need to figure out who your audience is.
I think the nostalgia, I think what they're banking on for us is nostalgia.
Yeah.
The last Harry Potter movie, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, came out in 2011. Didn't they say this series is coming out in like 2026?
Something like that.
So that's like, that's 15 years. So like, we're due. We're due
Yeah.
for new Harry Potter content. So I think they're banking on the nostalgia for us, but I think for new audiences, I think they want new audiences to latch on, kids their age, that they can see growing up in the Wizarding world and experiencing all these challenges, etc., like we did when the first set of Harry Potter movies were debuting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what they're banking on.
I'm not mad at it. Super Mario did a decent job with the movie, and Sonic is doing good with
Mm-hmm.
their movies, so I'm not
Mm-hmm.
mad at it. It's just if y'all ever make something and y'all say, like, let's get the adults up in here, really do a good job, because the adults are into Game of Thrones and everything else. It has been proven that we are excited for fantasy, and we're more accommodating for animation too. So y'all got to figure that out.
Yeah. But let's move into the next piece of news. So we talked about Denzel Washington and how Ryan Coogler is writing him a role in Black Panther 3. The questions that I had was this is, are you excited for Denzel to enter the MCU? And do you feel like Black Panther is the right movie for him to step into the MCU with?
I feel like from the Black American culture perspective, yeah, shout out to it. Ryan Coogler has become a very accomplished and well known director at this point. We've seen
Mm-hmm.
his works. He's done an amazing job, especially when working with Michael B. Jordan, Black Panther, all of the above. He's been doing amazing. Denzel Washington, proven legacy, amazing actor. His Sealed in Stone. I don't think it'll be bad. I don't think it'll be bad. It's
Mm-hmm.
just that I don't know if it'll hit for me personally,
Mm-hmm.
because you already know my feelings about Black Panther 2. We already talked
Mm-hmm.
about it days in and days out. I don't know if I'm excited for Black Panther 3. And Denzel Washington, people who know me, I don't have much of an affinity for him because I haven't seen Denzel Washington films really. I just wasn't interested in him when I was young. So it didn't do nothing for me. It's like, cool. I'm finally finna see a Denzel Washington movie because I'm more than likely gonna watch Black Panther 3, but it didn't really excite me per se.
I understand that. I'm excited for Denzel to join the MCU. My concern is that we get this A-list actor in the MCU and the movie doesn't pan out well. Like how we
Mm.
got Angelina Jolie in Eternals, and that's not my favorite. That's not one of my favorite MCU movies. They got Christian Bale, who I loved him in Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. They put him in Thor: Love and Thunder, and I hate Thor: Love and Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want him to get in the MCU and they waste his potential. Now, Ryan Coogler, big ups to him because Black Panther 1 was great. Black Panther 2, he did a great job of what he had to work with. Despite your feelings
He did
on
great.
everything going on surrounding that movie, he did a good job of what he had. The Creed movies have panned out to be nice. This Vampire Sinners that's about to come out, we're gonna see how
Looking
that
forward to
turns.
that.
Going to see how that turns out. I'm definitely not saying that he's not going to do Denzel justice, but my track record, my idea of a track record with MCU and these A-list actors is that sometimes these movies do not pan out, and we never see these people again.
Yeah, and I can see that because let's just be honest, Denzel is a check. That's a big check out of y'all's budget when you say we're bringing Denzel in.
Mm-hmm.
And how well received was Wakanda Forever from a financial standpoint as an MCU movie?
Definitely, I don't know the numbers. We can look that up right quick. I know Yeah, I don't think it was as high as Black Panther 1 just because of everything surrounding it.
Yeah. Mm,
I know that for sure. It made 859.2 million at the box office, and then let's go look at Black Panther
That's
in
not bad though.
2018.
That's not bad. I don't know how that is compared to all Marvel movies, but that's not bad in general.
Compared to Black Panther made 1.35 billion.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's about 500 million difference. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I don't know. Maybe Denzel might push it forward. Maybe he might help to keep it at a certain standard. Of course, with Ryan Coogler's help. I don't know. But I'm also don't know what type of story they're going for. Like now that we've given Chadwick Boseman and the character that is the original T'Challa from the MC universe their funerals. We've allowed
Mm-hmm.
them to be rested. We've given their rest, and we've allowed the audience as well as the people in the movies to accept that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what type of vibe they're going for in Black Panther 3. I don't know if they're finna allude to it in these upcoming MCU movies, but I don't even know what to expect really.
I would agree with that. I don't know what to expect. I can make assumptions because we're about to step into um the whole Secret Wars thing. We're still in the multiverse saga. They're about to introduce Antimantium. We're about to get to that in a second. Um, Kevin Feige's talking about the X-Men are on the way. There's a lot of things that they can do with Black Panther 3. And given on where we left on Wakanda Forever, I don't know how they're going to progress that story or where Denzel is going to fit into that.
And also, is he just going to be a prominent role? Like Black Panther, the original movie, has some good actors. Like, oh,
I think that they're gonna have to give him something. You
yeah,
can't write a role for Denzel Washington and put him in the background.
yeah,
Well,
I can see that too.
whatever Ryan Coogler is writing, it has to be big. It has to be Angela Bassett big.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I feel like it excited the people that it was supposed to excite with that announcement
Hmm.
that Denzel is in there. I'm pretty sure it did, but it depends on how they market it and what they're aiming for.
But I definitely think, just to answer the second question for me, I definitely think Black Panther is the appropriate movie for him to step into the MCU with. Like
Definitely.
if we think about everything coming up and we're thinking about everything that's happened in the past, I can't see him fitting in anywhere else but Black Panther. Just given his previous roles, who he is as a person. It's kind of like how they did Angela Bassett. Like Angela Bassett being the queen of Wakanda for the time that she was fitting. Even when we got to Avengers Infinity War and stuff like that, it was fitting. Um uh I can't see either of them doing anything else other in the MCU than that.
Yeah, it works. It it prevents people from getting mad in these little culture wars that seem to get tied to every movie and stuff now. It it's appropriate. It's definitely appropriate. I don't think nobody would be mad at this at all.
No.
Yeah.
But going to our last piece of news, and we're going straight into the MCU. Um, HBO released a statement that a Game of Thrones movie is in early development. They said they're going to pass around some scripts, see if anything sticks. But my main question coming out of this is, do we feel like it's time for a Game of Thrones movie?
Let's talk about this really quick to get everybody on one accord. House of the Dragon got a couple more seasons left, right?
Correct. 2 seasons left.
2 seasons left. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
That
That's going
comes
to be
out
a
next year.
series.
Yep, that
Did
comes
they
out
did
next
we
year.
say how many seasons were expected out of that?
I haven't seen how many seasons it's supposed to be.
Then we have Aegon's Conquest. That's a movie or a series?
I heard that's in development, but I think it's supposed to be a series. I know they canceled the Jon Snow
They canceled
series.
that.
There was supposed to be some animated project for Game of Thrones. I don't know if that's still in development or if they canceled that as well.
I heard something about there might be a series around the sea snake.
I heard that too during the time that House of the Dragon was ramping up. That could have been something that could have been like how this is something that's in early development, and if a good script comes out of it, they'll be like, yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I'm not mad at a movie because it's obvious what's happening. We're getting a Game of Thrones universe. We're getting a Game of
It's really
Thrones.
coming from. Did you see the statement from Warner Brothers that said the four franchises that they're going to focus on is DC, Mortal Kombat, Game of Thrones, and Harry Potter. They basically said those are their big four,
DC, Game of Thrones, Mortal Kombat,
and Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. I mean, I'm not mad at that. I like honestly, Harry Potter, some good, some bad. Like mostly good, mostly good. The Fantastic Beasts was the bad, but they won with Hogwarts Legacy. Mortal Kombat, the animated movies are doing great. And then they messed up with that one live action. We're gonna see how the next one do. And the games
Mhm.
have been consistent for the most
Mhm.
part. I'm not mad at them expanding their Game of Thrones world, but it does make me think like, okay, they stepping into the film industry when it comes to a movie. We might see a video game. There was a Game of Thrones video game from years ago that wasn't just the biggest thing ever. We might see a Game of Thrones video game in the next 5 years being announced.
Mhm.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad. House
I
of the Dragon season 1 was amazing. Season 2 was I.
mhm.
I'm
I
not
would be
mad.
curious to see what it focuses on. Cuz when they say Game of Thrones, I'm thinking Ned Stark and them. And if
Hmm.
that's where they're going for with this movie, I don't given that when they finally announce it, it's going to take years for like this to actually come to the forefront. But I don't I would be curious to see what they pull out of the Game of Thrones franchise where um they feel like, yeah, cinema, put this on the big screen. Because the article that I was reading when they were talking about movies is that the original writers for the OG Game of Thrones series wanted season 8 to be 3 feature-length movies. And instead we got those 6 half-ass episodes.
Yeah. My whole thing is if they're going to use the Game of Thrones name, understand that what the original audiences for Game of Thrones loved was the political intrigue. It was slow, methodical, strategic. It had action, but the focus was on the mindsets and the techniques and mental gymnastics that people applied to all of those wars and action scenes. So if you're going to put that into a movie and you're trying to condense it to what, an hour and a half, at most 2.5 hours,
It's probably going
that's
to
going to
be
be a lot.
this going to be this if they get this up and running. This is easily a 2-hour plus project.
And that's if they do it justice. I don't see them doing justice with the Game of Thrones and the stuff we love about it in an hour and a half. That's going to be very flat, very
Yeah.
surface level. I don't see them doing a great job with that.
And they have to do it first for me to make a full educated opinion on this. But I wonder if Game of Thrones is one of those franchises that excel episodically. Like I just don't when I see Game of Thrones content, I haven't fathomed them doing a movie.
Never even considered it.
Never considered because it Game of Thrones worked so well episodically. House of the Dragon is working well episodically. I have no doubt that this Night of the Seven Kingdoms is going to work well episodically. And now when we're talking about let's put something on the big screen, how does that translate?
And that's what I'm saying. Like some of the most important things from Game of Thrones, or the most impactful things, happening at a table. They happen when people are walking through a forest. Like those moments in like especially in OG Game of Thrones, not even House of the Dragon, are what play some of the biggest roles in Game of Thrones. The little conversations that happen in when Cersei's talking to somebody in secret. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So it's like, can that transfer well into film? How much are
I
you gonna have to cut out to tell a full Game of Thrones story? Not just a story, but a Game of Thrones style story.
and that's why I was saying it depends on what they focus on. Because if they tell us, hey, we're making a movie of this, that, and the third, and we look at it and it's like, okay, I can see that. But if they come out and they were like, okay, we're making House of the Dragon, we're adapting House of the Dragon into a movie. Hold on, pump your brakes, huh?
Exactly. or like, cause like Snow was meant to be like post what all happened in Game of Thrones, and he's over the wall. Like
Mhm.
honestly, I could see a Game of Thrones movie working if it takes place from the series, because we've already have that experience from the mainline
Yeah.
series or House of the Dragon, and we focus on one character's little like small arc. Like if they did a Snow movie, him over the wall going against wildlings doing politics, and make that a 2.5 hour feature film, I could see something like that working because it's small and condensed, and we have enough background to where we don't need to be educated on what's going on in the world. But if y'all pull random characters from a random point in history, as a Game of Thrones fan, I don't see how that's gonna work.
I don't know. I don't know. Cuz they did mention like they wanted to do animated projects with Game of Thrones. And there's always a difference in how they approach live action projects versus how they approach animated projects.
Yeah.
And I would just need to see the pitch. I would be curious to see my final words on this. I would be curious to see if this sticks and what they pull out of that. What did they decide that yes, this can be a feature length film in the Game of Thrones
Yeah.
universe? This is gonna be the bee's knees. This is gonna be Lord of the Rings reincarnated in theaters 2027. I would like to
Yeah.
see how they're gonna make that work.
And I don't know. Because at the same time, if they just could drop a 3 hour movie, yeah, audiences are sitting through longer movies now. But like if y'all are going to drop a 3 hour movie, just make it a 3 hour episode special. I mean a 3 episode special, or turn it into six and actually grow it, make it a series. Because
Hmm.
don't just do it just for the sake of doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I understand that that's their big four. Like they really want to put money into making more Game of Thrones stuff. But like I said, I would have to see it happening first. But I really feel like Game of Thrones is a franchise that works really well episodically. Like I've never looked at it and was like, yeah, let's make a movie.
Exactly.
And maybe they
Like
just have to do it for me to be like, oh, okay, I just need to shut the fuck up and let y'all cook.
And it's also, we're getting to the point where we're losing George R. R. Martin's material. Like George R. R. Martin has written his books and everything, but like at this point with everything they're exploring, they're really just taking like, oh, here's a page of information for his books. We're going to turn that into something new.
I would say, given the conversation that we had about House of the Dragon season 2 and everything surrounding that, I like that they're still keeping him in the fold, and I hope that as they want to expand this franchise and pull out little tidbits and make them into full projects, that they listen to him on how he wants to see this get built out.
I like that, but I want to see something akin, and I always compare stuff to anime for some reason. I want to see something akin to when a mangaka takes on a mentee, or a protege is the proper name, and they mentor them.
Hmm.
Because like George R. R. Martin is how old now?
I don't know how old he is. He is
And
older.
of course, we're not wishing misfortune on anybody, but like taking into consideration that he's older, we're building a large franchise, and it's going to get to the point where he ain't going to have time to be helping y'all out with any and everything. His input is going to be an email or a 1 hour phone call that you might get once a month at this point.
That's true.
When y'all start creating too many
I
IPs.
I would agree with that. I hope I'm glad that they're keeping him in the fold. I hope they keep him into the fold, but on his end, I hope he can find somebody at HBO that he can trust and be like, "Hey, this is my vision and I can trust you to go into this meeting with these executives and these writers and whatever and to relay my vision and to build out my universe the way that I have envisioned it."
Exactly. Because we're not going to see as many brilliant minds as George R. R. Martin when it comes to writing out this type of stuff and being this creative. Like, I need you to pass the torch somehow. Like,
I
I need you to
really,
make sure that someone has your
you know what's a perfect example of that though?
what's up.
This Avatar shit. So these Avatar books expand on, they reverse engineer. I watched an interview with the author SCE about when, because he wrote the Yang Chen and the Kyoshi books, and how he talked about how he had basically had to reverse engineer what was already established in Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, and write these prequel books for these pre-existing avatars.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Well, I'll say this. I haven't heard the original creators complain about anything that's been happening in these books. So they could be having talking to them and having communications, but I haven't heard any complaints of how they've been establishing pre-existing lore and tying in what's been happening in these animated series to what's happened to these previous avatars. And I
Right.
feel like what we're discussing about how Game of Thrones could exist and how they pull out these pieces and they want to expand these franchise. I feel like the Avatar stuff is a perfect example of giving your work to other people, because these books are not one. First of all, these books got two different authors. And the fact that, these highly acclaimed books are not written by the creators, but they're tying it into the lore and everything makes sense from like front to back. I feel like that's what Game of Thrones needs.
Exactly. Like that, and that's what I mean when I say like I'd love for him to pass down the torch. That's my ideal situation. But if you can just find some accomplished authors to expand on that universe, because a book can
Mm-hmm.
just hold more details, and it gives like movie directors and all of them some more material to work with. Because it's just different. Like I don't know, how many movies have just been written and they were just a movie and it wasn't written from a book that has all of these extra details where and you might have got to trim the fat off. I don't know how many good movies were like that. But it seems to be a success pattern when they do come from a book, especially in the fantasy realm.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see Game of Thrones expanded on in more effective ways, so that we can make sure we don't have a whole bunch of failing projects like like the last few seasons of the original series. I don't want to see that happen.
Yeah.
I want Game of Thrones to be done justice like seasons 1 through 5
Yeah.
and season 1 of House of the Dragon.
I guess we just gotta wait and see to see if this even gets off the ground.
Yeah.
But finally moving into the MCU stuff. I know they're like, damn, it took y'all an hour. It did.
This happens every time.
This happens every time. We make this agenda. We be like, oh, this is not gonna be that long. And then we get in this hole and yap.
Yeah. Honestly, me and Foop just be miss seeing each other. That's just what
We
happens.
be having a lot of sometimes we just be having a lot of stuff to talk about. Like
Hmm.
the shit be going crazy. But finally stepping into the MCU, I want to start with, we got an official rundown of what the MCU 2025 slate's going to look like. Then I want to talk about the new trailers for Thunderbolts as well as Captain America Brave New World. And then we're going to talk about the future of the MCU going past Secret Wars. So, MCU 2025 slate, starting January 29th, we're going to get My Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. February 14th is Captain America Brave New World. Daredevil Born Again drops March 4th. Thunderbolts drops May 2nd. Ironheart drops June 24th. The Fantastic Four drops July 25th. Eyes of Wakanda drops August 6th. Marvel Zombies drops October 25th. And then we end the year with Wonder Man December 25th. So just for me, my standouts coming out of this is Thunderbolts, of course. Interested on what they're going to do with Ironheart, Fantastic Four, and Marvel Zombies. I think those are my top four anticipated projects coming out of 2025. Definitely going to watch everything, but those four are definitely on my radar.
Honestly, after seeing the trailer, I'm semi excited for Brave New World. And I dislike the Captain America hero, but the way this most recent trailer looked, I'm a little excited for that, not gonna lie. After that, probably just Fantastic Four. I haven't really been into the Marvel series, and every time I say something looks interesting, I'll check it out. I get preoccupied with something else, and it just didn't catch my interest enough to go and watch it.
Hmm.
But I would say those are the two I'm actually looking forward to, that I know for sure I'm gonna watch and sit down and watch them.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get into these trailers. We'll go ahead and start with Captain America since that's the one you said really caught your interest. Um, that I am curious to see how they're gonna tie everything together. So, just a little bit of homework that I'm seeing that I need to do, and that maybe everybody needs to do, is that Incredible Hulk, the one where they had Edward Norton in. Y'all need to go back and watch that. They're bringing back a couple characters out of that. Thaddeus Ross, the previous actor, not Harrison Ford, the previous actor for Thaddeus Ross, was in that movie. They said they're bringing back the actress who played Betty Ross. And then there's a character, if you guys remember, his name was Mr. Blue. It's supposed to be a character called the Leader, who is supposed to be playing a role inside of Brave New World. So if you haven't watched the 2008 The Incredible Hulk movie in a while, go rewatch it. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that's definitely homework. And there was something else that I was gonna say that needed to be watched. I don't know if it comes back up, but those two especially.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you guys watch that before we get to here. Oh, you don't really need to watch the Eternals unless you just want to know why there's a big fat ass celestial in the middle of the ocean. But you don't really have to rewatch the Eternals to know that part. But the Eternals plays in the part of why there's a big fat ass celestial in the middle of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And there might be some nods to Secret Invasion inside of Brave New World as well, because the comics in Secret Invasion, something happened that pushed the pop the United States to elect Thaddeus Ross as president. So I don't know if him being president in Brave New World is a effect of response from what happened in Secret Invasion. I would be curious to see that too. But like Ryan, I'm not a big Captain America fan, but they got Red Hulk coming in here, the Leader, the Serpent Society. So a lot of elements that are coming into play here. I would like to see, and the fact that with the Celestial, they're going to be introducing antimantium. Y'all already know what antimantium leads to. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see like how this is all going to play out and how that's going to lead into Secret Wars. And Kevin Feige's talking about the Mutant Saga, X-Men and stuff's going to be coming after this. I wonder if this is going to be the first piece that lays all of that groundwork.
And that's what I'm interested in, because like I'm interested in how the world is going to expand off of this, because obviously this is going to lead to much more. But also, the vibe of the movie was very interesting to me. I like
Hmm.
that it seems like there's some political intrigue. Buddy's coming. The former Hawk is coming up in here now. Captain America is coming up in here saying like, "Hey, it seems like there's some moles. You got some issues. You can't really trust folks around you." It seems like he's kind of going on some vigilante type stuff. I don't know if Hulk is just going to be one little small fight, or is that going to be like one of the major main villains in
That
this
sounds
thing
like
coming on?
that sounds like the final fight. Red Hulk sounds like the final fight.
And I'm interested to see that. You know what I'm saying? Like the only Captain America movie I like was Winter Soldier. Well, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. Yeah, Winter Soldier. And this is the first time I've gotten excited for one in a minute. And I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on here.
The political intrigue is definitely there. I am curious to see what's the purpose of turning the president into a Red Hulk. Like what consequences comes out of the president of the United States turning into a Hulk? Like how do you handle that?
Hmm. I mean, he'll need that many Secret Service folks around him now. I mean,
Hey, he can protect himself. Hey,
hey, hey,
but also like who's behind it? Because if you look at the trailer, like when he was at that press conference and he started transforming, he looked shocked. He looked tweaked. He looked
yeah.
spooked. Like he didn't know that this shit was inside of him. So like who put the shit inside of him? And like what's the plan? Like what like is this like a control thing? Is this like a Bucky thing? Like, is there some type of code? Is there some type of phrase? Is there some type of button that you hit and boom, Red Hulk? And what is the implications that there is a guy out there that can control the president of the United States? They can click a button, they can say a phrase, they can say a word, and turn the president of the United States into a red fucking Hulk.
Just get on the phone, Mr. President. Hulk smash. And it's
Hulk smash. Or
like you tweaking
USA,
out,
God
twin.
God bless America, and he turns into a red Hulk. Like what's the implications of that? And like
Yeah.
what turns into the like what's the state of the nation when the president of the United States can turn into a red Hulk?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Avengers are like basically what's the Avengers at this point? Like who do you call?
Hey Avengers, come beat up the president. Whoa, 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 twin. What you mean? What you
What you
saying to me?
mean? What are you saying? Like, are
The
there no
pre the
like does the Sokovia Accords apply to this guy? Like, I'm
like is there a
that's
code word you're using right now? Is the president like a new villain or something? Like what you talking about?
I'm excited for Red Hulk to show up because he is the advantage that Red Hulk has over the regular Hulk is that he's fire based. Like he heats up. Like the matter he gets, he heats up. So like he has like explosive tendencies. Like that scene where like the White House like blew up, like that was him. Like not him like throwing stuff at it. He's just explosive, period.
Mm.
So like
Hey, the Hulk better turn green and use some vines like poison ivy or something. I
I
don't know.
I just want to know how he's gonna handle that. Like how is that all going to be handled going forward, given everything that's coming on? And that's why I'm also interested to see if Secret Invasion plays a part into this. Because what Secret Invasion established is that there are multiple world leaders who were kidnapped at some point in time and were being replaced by scrolls. So you have these aliens disguised as political world leaders, like making these big decisions. And how does that play into what's going on now? We start off the whole trailer with Isaiah Bradley, the black man, at the beginning. If when you watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you're gonna find out that he was given super soldier serum to do like black op missions or whatever for the United States. And when they were done with them, they just threw him in jail. And it was like you don't, you know how to do.
So is the new Captain America been given super serum too?
That's the question. Because if he's gonna I was watching a breakdown video of the trailer and they were like, did they give him super soldier serum for him to be so confident to stand up to Red Hulk?
Right.
Does he have something? Did they give him something to where he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go fight a Hulk? Or is he just that confident that like I can go
In
fight a
that
Hulk
shield and
and
that
just
little
and
suit.
just walk and just walk away, no issue?
And the
Because
way his
everybody
helmet moved, was that Stark tech?
so that suit is the suit that he got from Wakanda. So they're saying that that's the same vibranium tech that Black Panther had. You remember like how T'Challa had his helmet come
Mm-hmm.
on and off like that. That's the same type of technology.
Okay, 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 okay.
So I don't know. I'm curious to see how all of that ties into this because this is gonna be us stepping away from Agatha was like the witchcraft side of the MCU. Um we're stepping away from all the multiverse stuff for a minute. We're really just coming back home to the street team with it for Captain America, and I would like to see how this all plays out. Now, Thunderbolts, I said it before and I'll say it again. That's gonna be good shit.
It had them Suicide Squad vibes that you mentioned. This last trailer, it was interesting. Not gonna lie, it was interesting. I was like, okay, I might watch it. I might not. I'm not gonna get nobody's hopes up, but it did look interesting.
I think that's gonna be good shit. I They said Sentry is supposed to be like the big bad in this, and I need to do a bit more research on Sentry, but basically he's like I don't know if he's like homegrown, but basically he's been like experimenting on like this. The whole concept is that they're trying to make like the perfect superhero, and
Mm-hmm.
in comes Century, and they were doing like the breakdown that I watched was like zooming in on like they did like surveys, and like on how they want them to look and things like that. What kind of powers do you want to see? And like things like that. Like there's been like heavy research going behind this Century project of like whoever's in charge of it. And the idea is he's supposed to be like this perfect superhero. And I wonder how that's gonna play into like everything that's going on and why they need this set of characters to handle that.
Right.
Cause it could be like it could be like a Suicide Squad thing. Like Amanda Waller's big thing of sending out the Suicide Squad is you send them out on these sketchy ass missions, and if they don't come back, no harm, no foul. They were villains anyway. They were going to rot
Exactly.
in jail anyway.
Hmm. I will say I like that character who had that little stealth suit that could like turn invisible. It looked like it could
That's
phase through walls
Ghost
or something. I like Ghost.
from Ant-Man and the Wasp. She just got a new
I like
suit.
Ghost. Okay, that's
Cause
fire.
I'm I'm actually excited to see her character again. I'm not even gonna lie. To see what she's been doing all this time. Now, in the trailer, when they show her coming, like her title card, Yelena mentioned like shadow ops, and I was like, that's cold as fuck. If
Yeah,
this whole time she's been doing shadow ops, just
she looked
based on
fire.
just based on her powers.
Mm-hmm. Because her powers is she can phase through stuff. Is that like was I getting it the right idea or was it just
Yeah.
invisibility?
hmm
That's fire.
So I'm definitely excited for it. Um, I think I just really like the lineup, and I'm curious to see how everybody meshes together and like how does this tie into Century, and like also this is another like street level story. Like there's no multiverse, there's no witchcraft and sorcery and none of that involved. So like, what are we leading into on that level
Mm-hmm.
for this story?
Like MC, you got some stuff playing.
I This 2025 slate to me looks really good to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have some standouts. I know everybody's excited for Daredevil to come back. I think in the trailer, Kingpin is supposed to be the mayor of New York. So, I'm curious to see how that's all gonna play out. They've been talking about Spider-Man 4. Um,
And Tom Holland got the script or something and he kind of likes it.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So, street level wise, I think we're in good hands as far as the MCU goes. Now, Fantastic Four, that's really going to be the turning point of this multiverse saga. Because they're talking about introducing Galactus. Doctor Doom is coming. I don't know if he's going to be in the Fantastic Four movie or if they're going to tease him in the Fantastic Four movie, but that's definitely what's going to kick all of the Secret Wars shit off. They're talking about they're looking for somebody to play Mr. Fantastic's son, um, which is he has a part in Secret Wars. So really that's going to be the turning point to see like how they're really going to handle this multiverse saga going into 2026 and 2027. Like
Right.
this is really going to be that moment where everybody is going to be like either like oh shit we finna turn up or WTF what's what's
Let's
going
turn this
on,
down.
let's turn this down, jazz music stops. But getting into the future news, so Kevin Feige released two statements. One, that the X-Men are going to be important to the MCU after the events of Avengers Secret Wars. And he also said that Miles Morales is going to be introduced into the MCU after Beyond the Spider-Verse. Now, they have not given like with all the strikes and stuff and everything that happened after Across the Spider-Verse, I don't think they have a set release date for Beyond the Spider-Verse anymore. But what I do know is that Miles Morales did have a bit of a significant part in the comics for Secret Wars, and I wonder if Beyond the Spider-Verse is going to come out before Secret Wars so they can put introduce Miles Morales for that storyline.
So are they going to make is the animated Miles Morales potentially going to be a live action Miles Morales, or when we say introduced in the MCU, we're just going to get a completely new live action Miles Morales?
He's gonna have to be completely new. I
Okay.
think so. On this level, it really depends on like why they're waiting afterwards. Like, are they waiting afterwards because at the end of Beyond the Spider Verse, we're going to get is going to lead into a live action Miles Morales. Now, given if that's the case, the animated version of him and the live action version of him gotta look a bit similar, but the voice actor for the guy, he's too old to be running around talking about Miles Morales.
Exactly. And since they talking about that Spider-Man 4 movie, how is it going to tie into Spider-Man a little bit? Are they going to meet? I wonder. That's interesting.
I don't know. I don't know exactly like what's the plan. Kevin Feige just said he will be introduced into the MCU after Beyond the Spider Verse, which in my head clicks off flags that something's going to happen in Beyond the Spider Verse that's going to open the door for a live action Miles Morales.
Exactly.
That there is some reason, there has to be a reason of why they want him to be debuted after all of the Sony shit goes down.
Yeah.
And I just don't know what that is yet. Now, the X-Men shit, said this when we were talking about Captain America, the fact that they're introducing antimantium, and we talked about this, I can't remember what episode it was on, but the whole Secret Wars thing at the end of this, if they go by the comics, we're going to get a new MCU universe, and that could definitely open the door for the X-Men to come in once these two Earths have their incursion and everything blows up and we defeat Doctor Doom and all that shit. Like,
Hmm.
that could definitely be like, okay, boom, X-Men, and that's how we explain it.
Fair. Fair. I mean, because it seems like Logan is still going to be there regardless, right? In the X-Men, like our original Logan, at least with how they did Deadpool. So I'm interested to see like if there will be any few callbacks, or are we just finna get a new line of X-Men, and are they going to use the X-Men we're accustomed to? Are we going to get our Storm, Cyclops, and all the OGs? Or are we going to get some new ones starting off to just ease us into it? I'm interested to see how they do it all.
One, I think they're going to introduce a new lineup, to answer your first question. Two, I think Deadpool and Wolverine ruled out the possibilities. Now, when we get to Secret Wars, a whole bunch of multiverse shit going on, we could get callbacks to the old X-Men movies. We might see Storm, we might see the actress that played Jean Grey. Like, we might get like callbacks. They had, I believe, at the end of the Marvels, the end credit scene when Beast showed up, that's the same actor that played Beast in the X-Men movie. So I definitely think we're gonna get callbacks Secret Wars wise. But when we fully step into this rumored mutant saga, I definitely think it's gonna be a completely new lineup.
Hmm.
And I would be curious to see who they pick to be on that lineup, because the number of characters in the X-Men is huge. There is a lot of people that they can pull from and focus on, and I know the easy answers are Storm, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Wolverine, because that's who we've been accustomed to seeing this whole time. But I would be curious to see if they go a different route and they pick a different lineup. Who they pick to, push to the front for X-Men.
One of my favorite Nightcrawler. That's been my boy from the jump.
Yeah. And if they do the OGs, I won't be mad. But I hope they do the OGs and do like a Justice League Unlimited feel to it, to where it's the
Hmm.
OGs and then they introduce all of the other mutants as well.
OGs and friends.
Yeah, basically.
Hmm.
Because there's so many different characters in the X-Men. Like, if you watch X-Men 97, like, that first season definitely gives you the scale of how many mutants and how many members of the X-Men actually exist. And I think
Exactly.
it would be a disservice that if we got to this mutant saga and it's just the OGs and we don't expand anywhere else.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
But I'm definitely excited to see how they set all of that up. If the X-Men are coming, what Easter eggs and tidbits are Kevin Feige and them going to give us in these upcoming movies and projects that is going to get us ramped up and excited for the X-Men coming.
Yeah. I'm interested. I'm glad that they're slowing down and they're moving at a sustainable pace. I'm interested to see what comes next.
Yeah, I want to know what the plans are.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Feige, if you're watching this, call me. I'll sign an NDA and everything. I won't say shit.
I'll stop talking smack if you let me be in a movie. I just want to be a side character just so I
Ryan
can
can't
flex in
act.
front of food.
Ryan can't act, bro.
Did you ever see me in a play when I was in Mad Drama?
I can't say.
Oh, so how you gonna speak on my skills?
I mean, I know you.
Mm, you don't know what I'm capable of.
You did.
I
You
got an
did
award.
what? What you did? One little play in college. You had like what? 2 lines.
I did a few, and actually, well over 2 lines. Thank you so
Well over.
much. And
Oh, 3.
and
My
I got an
bad.
award.
Oh, my
And
bad. 3. 3.
I
My
say
bad.
well over 4+,
4
4+,
plus. What?
4+.
Oh
And I got an
wow.
award.
Esteemed. He's an esteemed actor. Give him his Tony, his Oscar now.
Don't let me actually get an opportunity in real life because I'm gonna flex on you. I'll be like, hey, food, look where I'm at. Do a call, red carpet.
I
What's
hope
up?
they fire you for violating your NDA.
That's so hateful. I want y'all to
You
see
you provoked me by calling me to
this
brag that you were on an MCU set.
one. Once this
So
recording gets no, once this recording gets put on YouTube, I think she's going to be to the left of me. This right here, this is the results of Kendrick Lamar doing all that hating on Drake. You see how
no,
people
because
just
he
feel
provoked
encouraged to be
me.
haters now?
Did we not just hear him say that if he was to become an actor, he's going to call me on the MCU set and brag?
Wow, I called you about something you're passionate about to show you. Wow,
No, you
I called
called
my
me.
best
You
friend.
called me
Wow,
to rub that in my face. You called it to rub it in my face.
false
So when
equivalencies.
I respond and I say I hope you get fired, that is a response to
False
you.
equivalencies.
Okay, whatever. Whatever. Yeah. Yo,
I don't know
shrug.
what you want me to say.
Shrug. I don't want you to say anything. We can end the episode right now.
That's so crazy.
Nah, but for real. So that's all the entertainment stuff that we have. We're gonna move into we got a couple of video game updates. So we got some news on some of the features for the Switch 2. So we just want to announce that Nintendo is being very tight-lipped on the Switch 2. Hella rumors going around, but the news that we're bringing you guys today is official news from Nintendo. Is that the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible with original Switch games. Um, they said the Switch 2 will also support Nintendo Switch Online. And there was a third thing that I saw as well. I think it was something about like the game cartridges they're not going to change or something like that. So that's really all the big news that we have for the Nintendo Switch 2, which I think I want to say that was one of our concerns when we were first talking about the Switch 2 of whether or not it was going to be backwards compatible.
The only thing that I can think of regarding the game cartridges, which makes me worry about what the graphical capabilities will be of the Switch, is that to my knowledge they can't hold too much information.
Mm-hmm.
Like they hold a good bit, but part of the reason that like I just downloaded Black Ops 6, 60, 80 plus gigabytes. You know what I'm saying? And that's when it's not with a disc. Now, if it's when a disc, it might be like 60 plus. But all these games hold a lot of data. And that's because they're 4K, graphics, textures, etc. So my whole thing is, will the Switch be able to output really good graphics? Are we still going to be dealing with issues where the loading screen sucks? You're getting a way lesser version of a game that's on other platforms, i.e. Hogwarts Legacy and a few others. It does make me question that type of stuff.
And that's fair. And I wonder if, and I can't find, because I saw it this morning and I can't find it anymore. I wonder if this is gonna be like a DS situation. You remember when the DS came out, the first DS, not the DSi, because the DSi took that shit out. But I remember when the first DS came out, and it still supported Game Boy games, and you put the Game Boy game at the bottom, but the
Yeah.
DS games went at the top. Do you
hmm
think this might be like a DS situation that is backwards compatible because we still have the little compartment that you can put Switch 1 games into? But here's this new compartment that's going to hold Switch 2 games, and that's a whole different type of format just due to like the data and everything that they have to put into it.
I could see that happening because even when the 3DS came out, didn't they have to change the cartridge type for that one, and it didn't support original DS game cartridges?
I didn't have a
So,
3DS, so you would know better than me.
I ain't have one of these. I saw other people with. Well, that's besides the point. I could see that being a possibility because the console is so modular. Whether you want to play it on the couch or take it out of the docking station, even if they wanted to integrate the docking station to that being the way that you even play Switch games, if they did create a new cartridge or disc for the Switch 2, I could see that being a possibility. I could see them even going that route. But the thing is, how much of an upgrade will this be? Is my concern. You know what I mean? Like, how
That's
much of
what
an upgrade will this be?
and the thing about it is that it's like how I was saying when we first started this conversation. Nintendo is being very tight-lipped on what this Switch 2 is actually supposed to be. Like
Right.
there's been like hella rumors, but this is the only like official piece of information that they given to us, and it's like that's great because would have hated to buy a Switch 2 and I can't, and shit don't translate. But
Right.
as far as like the graphical power and what's going to be the big selling point for the Switch 2, like they're being very tight-lipped on that shit.
Right. Trying to fix my camera. There we go.
So I don't know.
It. Uh, I'm not sure. Like, I'm excited. I'm excited because I want to see the games. I know they're going to
Hmm.
excel in whatever it is. Their Mario games, the Pokemon games. I mean, we're kind of used to a little bit of glitches here and there, but I'm like, if y'all are going to create this system, and it's how many years since the original Switch?
I think the original
2016,
was it
2017.
2016 or was it 2017?
We was at that internship when we got the special editions,
But
and that
and
was like a year after it came
that was
out.
2018 when the
So
special
like
editions came out.
2017.
Yeah, I think it was 2017.
Fans, fact check us for real, for please. So if it's 2017, let's go with that. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. We're 8 years after the fact. I ain't finna be dealing with no glitches, loading those long loading screens for a 8 GB video game. I'm not finna deal with that, bro. I will complain. I don't care what the Switch Nintendo fans say. I am a fan of Nintendo too, and that's why I critique them. This needs to be a legitimate incremental upgrade for me to spend $350 plus, and 350 is if
Hmm.
they want to be nice to people. They could easily do 4 or 500 because that's how the past two consoles did us with the Xbox and the PlayStation.
Indeed. I'm I don't know.
Like,
I'm definitely excited to agree with you. I'm excited to see what they do with the games. And to agree with you again, I am curious on what's going to be the selling point. What's going to be that monumental feature in the Switch 2 that makes us think, oh, Nintendo really put their foot in this.
exactly. Otherwise, if it's backwards compatible, I wonder if the new games can be played on the regular Switch.
But
Don't let them say
I
that.
just feel like that's standard. I just feel like that's a standard. Saying it's backwards compatible is definitely um a
We're
plus.
accustomed to that with Microsoft and Nintendo at this point.
That's what exactly. Like backwards compatibility is not like a oh shit type feature. Like they did that shit with the GameCube. They did that shit with the Wii. The Switch is different just because the way it's set up. Like I wasn't expecting to play no DS Wii games on the Switch just because of the way that it's set up. But saying that the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible, like that's not wow, that's not like new news to me. Like you guys have done this before.
Exactly. And that's why I don't want them to harp on. Like, please, please, please tell me. Are we sticking with motion controls? Cool. How have those advanced? Are we dipping into virtual reality at all?
Mm-hmm.
If we're not advancing the motion controls or even dipping into virtual reality, then the only thing I can see y'all doing is graphical fidelity and processing and everything else. Are we finna make larger, more detailed, more vibrant video games? If not, then how are you going to make it a point to make me want to spend that lump sum of money for a new console? Like,
Yeah.
what are y'all finna sell me? Because I'm at this point, I'm very strict with Nintendo. Even Microsoft has been falling by the wayside. Some people on Sony side have been complaining about the lack of good exclusive games. Like a few multi-plat games here and there come out and they're great, Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate, and people are being disappointed by stuff like Dragon Age now.
I I don't know, bro. We just gotta wait till
I
2025. We just
mm,
gotta wait till 2025 because that's when last time I heard that is when Nintendo was going to officially release details about the Switch 2. Like that's when
mhm.
we are officially going to start seeing what the Switch 2 is actually going to have entailed, games, etc. So the other video game news we got is that we talked about this when we were talking about Fantastic Beasts, but just to like make it official, the Hogwarts Legacy sequel is in the works, and I don't think that comes to as a surprise to anybody, given on how well the first one sold. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody that they're making a sequel. The fact that we already said that Harry Potter is one of the top 4 franchises that HBO wants to focus on anyway. So I think my curiosity falls into how are they going to continue the story, and then what the thing that Ron mentioned is that the sequels. You said the sequel is going to somehow tie into the new
Thus, I've heard
series.
rumblings, or rather, some people are desiring of that. I nothing official, or even from a good source.
Okay, well that's a rumor. Take that with a grain of salt, but I don't think that comes to a surprise to anybody that we're going to get a sequel to Hogwarts Legacy, given that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League didn't do well, and I can't think of any other Warner Brothers games that have came out that have met the heights of Hogwarts Legacy
Mm,
since Hogwarts Legacy came out.
Oh, in terms of those heights, because Mortal Kombat 1 ain't really touched that realm either, did it?
Oh, Mortal
It did
Kombat
good
1
for
did
its.
come out. But I feel like
I'm
I
assuming it did good for itself.
yes, as far as Mortal Kombat, like how you said before, Mortal Kombat is consistent. I think everybody was like, this is gonna do well because it's Mortal Kombat. I think Hogwarts Legacy was the one that was like, we're stepping our toe into the water with this. We haven't done this before for real. And I don't think they have been able to replicate that success since.
Now there, here's the thing with a Hogwarts Legacy 2. If we do a deep dive, I'm pretty sure we did what we want to see in the next video game video way back when we reviewed it. But they got to double the budget. I'm sure they're going to. They saw the success. They saw that the backlash that it was receiving didn't really impact its success at all. Not in a negative way, at least. And now we're going to get that wave of new fans once the series drop. The budget got to be doubled, if not tripled. They can't
I
get away too far from their formula. Don't do no live service game.
mhm.
I don't even think y'all need to even consider multiplayer for real. Like y'all could, but y'all really don't need to at all. And two, three, four, five, six. Who are y'all focusing on? Are we going to rely on nostalgia again? Because that's what they relied on this time. It wasn't just the most elite video game. It was a solid action RPG game with a solid action game with RPG elements. It was solid.
Mhm.
Are y'all targeting gamers? Like gamers? Are y'all targeting the Harry Potter fans? Are y'all trying to find a nice little middle ground? Who are you going to lean towards? Because now, are we going to stick to Hogwarts and do another student? Is this student an auror now? Are we going to another school of witchcraft? Where are we going with this? Because you can't just redo the same thing all over again and say, hey, we're a student coming into Hogwarts. Let's elevate in these classes. I mean, you could, but I doubt that's going to run over well.
Yeah. Those are all good questions that I don't know when we would get the answers to it, because like a game like this takes like years
At
to
least
put.
five.
It takes a good amount of time for this to get put together. Now, as far as like budget wise, I'm pretty sure they're gonna put a lot of money into this. I don't think, one, I don't think they have a choice. Like,
Exactly.
I don't think they have a choice. but to put money into this. And then the fact that they said that this is one of their top franchises that they're going to focus on, the money is going there. And I think this is the same, discussion that we had with Fantastic Beasts. It's like, what are you going to pull out of the Wizarding World to make a sequel for this? I think they did a great job with the first one, going back in time, us not touching Harry and all of the events from the movies. They did a great job making that the
Perfect.
center point. But now, where do we go from here?
Because it's like, even if you expand, okay, add more spells, give us a new area to explore, like, say, where did we not go? Diagon Alley?
No, we were there. No, we
We
didn't
were
go
there.
there. No, we were there in like a cutscene, and that
That's
was
what,
it.
that's what I'm saying. Like, what are we going to expand to? We're going to get Green Gods. We're going to get the Ministry of Magic. Okay, y'all add that. What are we doing there? Are we getting more spells? Are we doing stuff that's not mentioned in Harry Potter, and y'all adding some extra stuff to enhance the game? Y'all did allude to that Gryffindor girl who was from like an African school of mass magic. Are we
Hmm.
finna start exploring, becoming animaguses? Are we going to see the Fantastic Beast stuff? Now that the theme park is expanding, we're going to get the series. Let's say the series do well. The first season's coming out in 2025 or 2026.
I thought it was shit. I don't know. One of them two. It might
If
have
it's
been
2020,
2025.
if it's 2025, season 2 might come out in 2027. And then this game, if it's a 5-year development phase, we might get it in 2029 with the third season of the HBO series. Like, what are y'all going for as y'all try to build up Harry Potter for the next generation while still trying to please the older generations that have been fans for 10 plus years now? I'm interested to see what they'll do with that video game.
I agree. I agree. I understand business wise why we want a Hogwarts Legacy 2. Like that,
Obviously.
obviously that should be a surprise to
Easily.
no one. But story wise, going back into building out franchises, stepping into different layers, is like what's going to be the layer that we explore in this, and is it going to sell well? Is it going to be a story worth telling, or is this just a money grab? Are we going to waste hundreds and thousands of developer hours just making something because y'all want some money?
Exactly. Because I feel like this original game had love in it. Like, as a Harry Potter fan, you got. I think we said the same thing in our review. You could tell this was made by fans for fans.
Yeah.
So when we get this new game, they're doubling the budget. They're trying to make this one for fans and people who may not know about it, who may not have went to universe, who may not have watched the movies or read the books. They want this to be mass appealing at this point because they're probably going to even triple the budget. Let's be honest, Warner Bros. Got the money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're definitely gonna put some money into this. It's just what comes out of it. Are we gonna be like, hey, this was definitely worth the money. I'm glad you guys had the budget. Or is it gonna be like, y'all spent how much on this
For this?
for this? Who this for? Like,
Hell nah.
like I'm looking at the game like, who's this for? Who this for?
Who this for? Like, for real. For real. Like, I like my RPGs, but Food's like some RPGs, but she leans more so the action RPG route. I'm not
And
saying y'all gotta make it like Baldur's Gate 3, but what are
it's
y'all
got to
finna
be a
do
good
with this?
story. It's got to be a good story behind it,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. But let's talk about this last topic. We got the top 10 highest selling video game consoles. I just want to run down the list, and we'll do a little bit of reflection. But other than that, we're going to start wrapping this episode up. So starting at number one, and this is as of November 13th, 2024. Starting at number one, we have PlayStation 2 with 160 million units sold.
Makes sense.
That makes sense because the PlayStation 2 went up. It was the PlayStation 2, the big fat junk. Then they came out with the PlayStation 2 Slim. Then they had when they were doing like the translucent colors ones and stuff like that. And then this was the era when they were like making games for everything.
Like, I don't know the sales numbers, but consoles that everybody I knew had them.
PS2,
PlayStation 2, 360, GameCube, and Wii. Everybody had those consoles.
agreed. Coming in at number 2, Nintendo DS, 154 million. Not mad at that either. The Nintendo DS coming off the SP into the DS. If you had the SP, because I didn't know a lot of people who had an SP because there wasn't really anything special about the SP other than the fact it was like flip phony. But the
Yeah,
DS really gave value of like the flip phone ideal with the touch screen with the dual screens, and oh, you do something at the bottom
mm,
would affect something at the top. Like the DS really had like a selling point behind it.
that dual screen setup was like one of the most innovative things we saw at that point in gaming in
Right.
real life.
Cause the Game Boy SP was basically just a Game Boy Advance with like more light and you flip it
Yeah, a
up and
few more
down.
colors and yeah, more module. That's about it.
Coming in at number 3, we got the Nintendo Switch at 146 million. That's another revolutionary thing that Nintendo did. Definitely not mad at that. Number 4, Nintendo again, Game Boy plus Game Boy Color, 118.6 million.
Makes
I think the
sense.
Game Boy Color had that the same thing that the PS2 had, where it was like so many variations of like colors, and they had the translucent ones, they had the solid color ones. Um, I know the Game Boy Advance, you could barely like see it, like with the lighting and stuff like that.
Eh,
You remember had they sold like the additional pieces where you could have like
yeah.
more lighting on it.
And the thing with handhelds, like Nintendo ran handhelds. Like people, for anybody who's a little bit younger and don't remember back in the day, phone games were not like what they are now. Like now, where everybody's a gamer now because almost everybody plays video games on their phone and stuff nowadays. Back then, if you weren't at the arcade, like, and you didn't have a console in your house, handhelds was like the one way you could really play video games on a plane, out and about, in school, etc., etc. Like
Yeah,
that was innovation at its finest when the Game Boys and stuff was coming out.
definitely. When once they got like the lighting and the graphics together, and then the DS really took it off when they had was it Bluetooth? When Bluetooth was getting popular, when the DS
I
was
remember.
out and you could
I think so,
connect to it was
yeah, because
Bluetooth
we could like
connection.
text each other with the chats and
Yeah.
everything, and kids would be in class. I think that was Bluetooth features.
So like yeah, the hand Nintendo when they were coming out with those handhelds, I think they did a very good job of tapping into like whatever like was the big technology at that moment and like
Yeah,
tapping into it. So coming in number 5, we got the PS4, 117.2 million.
makes sense to a degree.
Yeah,
To a degree, that makes sense.
I'm trying to
I'm
I'm
surprised
trying
the
to think
GameCube ain't there. 360 is there, but that's surprising.
I'm trying to think about what was going on when the PS4 was it
Xbox. That
just
was when Xbox fully lost the console war because they had DRM saying games had to be always connected to the internet and stuff with the Xbox One.
oh, got it. Okay.
And Wii U was like the generation before, technically, like before the Switch was announced and
Oh
everything.
yeah, and everybody hated that
Nintendo
shit.
was Nintendo was sucking with the Wii U. Xbox fucked over fans with that DRM stuff, even though that's where gaming was going, and we're there now. But hey, yeah,
So
PS4
basically,
came
it's
in
basically Sony took it by default.
best opportunity. That's when
Okay.
Horizon Zero Dawn got a award that was in their bag with their
That's when
exclusives that got big.
Batman Arkham Knight had came out. Yeah.
Yeah, they were in
Yeah.
their exclusives bag. Other consoles were effing up. They did their thing. It was a great opportunity for them.
Okay. Coming in at number 6, we have PlayStation 1 at 102.4 million.
Surprise 360 ain't up there nor GameCube. I'm surprised that beat out those two. Okay.
I wonder if it's just because that was like the first one.
I, I'm
Because
not
because
young
what
enough to remember.
me
Uh
neither,
huh.
but like I would be curious to see, and if you had a PlayStation 1, and let us know like what was the appeal, what was Sony doing before the PlayStation? Because I could imagine like Sony does a lot like with movies, music, and things like that, and I wonder if like them saying, oh, we're doing gaming and here comes the PlayStation, and it was like, oh shit, because they had properties like 007, they had properties like Tomb Raider, and like these are coming off like movies that were coming out in the 90s, and I wonder if that was the appeal.
My
That
cousin had a PlayStation 1. I played the Yu-Gi-Oh game on it. And it was fun. I just didn't know too many people who had it. But I was also very young. I
yeah.
barely remember. I had an N64 when he had a
Like
PlayStation 1.
I know a lot of people who had N64s and like a couple of people that had like PlayStations.
Exactly.
But I wonder if it was just the kind of games that they were, because now we're getting into what you define as mature gaming. And with the PlayStation coming out, was that the start of getting titles like Tomb Raider and 007? And I remember they started doing like the fight nights, and there might have been like some NBA lives or something on like PlayStation. Like when we really get into that, was that the selling point for
Exactly.
the PlayStation? Okay.
Hmm. Dragon
Coming in
Quest
at
was
number
getting
7.
big. Final Fantasy, all them types of games.
Right. So coming in at number 7, we got the Wii at 101.6 million.
The Wii did not beat PlayStation 1. GameCube did not beat PlayStation 1 nor 360. That's interesting. I need to do my research.
I
The
think
Wii
the I
should have
think
been
the thing
higher.
of I think the thing about the Wii is that the Wii definitely had mass appeal. Nintendo snapped when they made Wii Sports, in the commercials had like your grandma and your dad and everything on it, like bowling, doing boxing, like doing normal ass shit, as opposed to like the GameCube where we're doing Mario Kart and Melee and other shit like that. Like the Wii really like, and then when they came out with the Wii Fit, and they're talking about hey exercise, like there was a lot of selling points. There was a lot of demographics that the Wii appealed to. Like my auntie had a Wii just to do like her
Yeah.
exercise stuff. While I had a Wii because I want to play Mario Kart, like the different functions, the spectrum that the Wii laid
Yeah,
on.
we Fit Plus, and they had that little thing you could stand on, all that, and then you tie that to Wii Sports Resort, and you could play like Sonic at the
Hmm.
Olympic Games with it with snowboarding. I remember all that. Yeah,
Yeah, I think the Wii did a really good job of like traversing through all of those demographics. Like there was something that could appeal to everybody of why you would want a Wii.
mm-hmm.
So coming in at number 8, we have the PlayStation 3 at 87.4 million units.
That's interesting because the PlayStation 3 pissed a lot of people off when they jumped
That's
into
what I
that
was gonna.
$500 premium.
That's what I was gonna say.
360, I'm surprised. I thought 360
I
sold more.
honestly feel I honestly feel like this is consumer loyalty at this point. Because
People were
we talk about
pissed with that PS3.
the PlayStation, but think about it though. The PlayStation 2 is the number one highest selling console. So based on the track record coming off the PlayStation and the PlayStation 2, coming in with the PlayStation 3, I think they had enough consumer loyalty that they knew that they were going to sell with the PS3. It just pissed everybody off afterwards, after they got the
And
PS3.
and which website are you getting all this information from, just so we can source it,
So
so people don't think we lying?
This is a tweet from Culture Crave at Culture Crave on Twitter.
Okay, okay, we here.
So, and then coming in at number 9, we have the Xbox 360, 84 million units. And then at number 10, we have the Game Boy Advance coming in at 81.5 million units.
All those different Game Boys. Okay. All of Nintendo's make sense because Nintendo innovated so much. I thought the Wii would be higher,
I
considering the
did think
amount
the
of
Wii was going
innovation
to
that
be
those
higher.
motion controls did. All the different Game Boys, I'm not surprised. They were cheaper, more affordable, and kids everywhere. There will always be more kids being born than there are adults living. So that just makes more sense that parents are buying all their kids some Game Boys the second they hit like 6, 7, 8 years old.
Hmm.
Mm. But PlayStation 2 was monumental. I'm not gonna lie. I had a couple of
I
PlayStation
had
2s.
a PlayStation 2, like,
I, Ratchet and
and
Clank games, Sly
that's
Cooper.
when GTA was taking off, like GTA, Call of Duty, um, NBA Live before they turned it into 2K, Need for Speed, Midnight Club. Like there's Burnout. Like there's a lot of franchises that sat on that PS2.
And when it comes to brand loyalty, Nintendo, Sega, and Atari were in the gaming industry like way earlier than Sony and Xbox. I mean, at Microsoft. Because when Sony came in with the PS1, I think by then Microsoft wasn't in gaming. Microsoft ain't getting into gaming with the OG Xbox, and that was technically PlayStation 2's competitor.
Mm-hmm.
But by then, I think Nintendo had GameCube or Wii. I can't remember who was technically their competitor for those consoles.
Around PlayStation 2? That was
PlayStation 2 and
GameCube.
360. That was
That
GameCube's
they had to
competitors.
be GameCube.
And then Wii was technically no, it had to be the Wii because
Well,
Wii was not competing.
I think it was GameCube and Wii. I think it was GameCube for some time, and then Wii came out because I remember I ended up getting a Wii and a PS3 around this like a couple years apart from each other.
Well, the issue was the Wii U was out around the Xbox One, PS4 time, but it's because Nintendo's release dates are off. Because Switch came out when we were still on PS4 and Xbox One, then a few years had to pass
Right.
before we got the Series X. So
Right.
it's kind of weird how they do it. It's one or the other, or you can say both. So yeah,
I would say GameCube and Wii are like exist in the same time period that the PS2 was,
and the 360 was out.
right.
And the PS2 had more brand loyalty than Microsoft because they was just PS2 competed against OG Xbox, PS3 competed against 360. Microsoft was the last ones in, and they proved themselves with the 360 just to disappoint folks with the Xbox One. PlayStation maintained themselves, and Nintendo kind of made the Wii U worthless because of marketing.
Yeah.
So some of this does make a lot of sense in retrospect.
Yeah. I would be interested to see. I don't know when they'll do like the numbers again, like if this changes at all, especially with the Switch 2 coming out. Does this change at all?
It depends on if they advance when it comes to their technology, because like Microsoft seems like they're going into that virtual route, like with this recent ad where they say this is Xbox, this is an Xbox on your phone, on your tablet, on your PC, and it's no longer one singular console. They really are going the streaming route or Netflix route for video games, download it or stream it. So it almost seems as if Microsoft is jumping out of the console wars. So Nintendo is only going to have to compete against Sony for real, more than likely, at some point.
For a good minute.
But all games are going virtual because all technology is going virtual. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see if this changes up. But that brings us to the end of this episode. If you stayed this whole time, shout out to you. You're a real one. If you took a break, you also a real one because you came back and listened to the rest of this episode. So let's go ahead and shut this down. So once again, thank you, Ron, for joining me on another episode of the Blerd Mob podcast. Shout out to everybody who listened or watched this episode, whether this is your first time or 50th time checking us out. It is always appreciated. If you want to hear more entertainment and video game news from us, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you like this video and leave a comment and let us know how you felt on the discussions that we had today. Make sure you follow us on our social media platforms. We're on Instagram at the Blerd Mob Pod. We're on Twitter at the Blerd Mob, and you can find us on Facebook and TikTok at the Blerd Mob Podcast. And make sure you check out those links in the description on ways to donate to the mob, and check out our link tree for any of our recently released episodes and good things like that. So with all that being said, this is the mob checking out.
For the folks who don't know much about Sword Art, Gun Gale Online was honestly a really lovely spinoff. Really lovely spinoff. If y'all ain't watch it before, go watch season 1. If Sword Art Online piqued your interest, you watch season 2, it's like, dang, they did the same thing as season 1 all over again. Watch Gun Gale.